We've got a question for you. Is it time for moderates to seize the momentum in the Democratic race? Former President Obama thinks so. Take a listen.
This is still a country that is less revolutionary than it is interested in improvement. They like seeing things improve, but the average American doesn't think that we have to completely tear down the system and remake it. And I think it's important for us not to lose sight of that.
I'm joined now by Valerie Jarrett, former White House advisor to President Obama. She wrote the book, Finding My Voice, out now. You can pick it up for your holiday shopping. Valerie, the president is saying that the average voter does not want to blow up the system, doesn't think a radical candidate is what they need. Do you agree?
Well, look, I think what he was saying is something he used to often say to us, which is don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. Change happens incrementally. Yes, you can have bold ideas and a great vision, but when you get into office, you have to work with the art of the possible. And so I think it was less an indication of who he favors, but more some sage advice, having run two successful presidential races, that once you get to the general election, the country tends to be more in the middle, and that we shouldn't lose sight that that's actually keeping our eye on the prize, is to win the general election, not just win the primary. And he said at the end of those remarks, whoever emerges as a nominee, he will spend all of his energy trying to make sure to help them get elected. And so that's an indication of how strong I think he believes the field is.
Then is he basically telling Democrats that somebody like an Elizabeth Warren or a Bernie Sanders doesn't have a good chance in the general?
No, I think it's more just giving advice. It's saying, look, it's okay to have bold ideas, but also let's be pragmatic and to not get so caught up with our bold ideas that we don't appreciate the fact that once you're in office, you're going to have to work on the other side of the aisle, and you're going to have to try to get legislation passed. And so, I mean, so I'll give you a good example, the Affordable Care Act. I would have loved to have seen a public option included with the original package. But hey, guess what? We didn't have the votes for public option. But now 20 million people have health care because we didn't just say, well, my way or the highway. And so I think it's really advice about the art of the possible. It's his pulse of the country, having traveled it throughout the course of not just his presidency beforehand in the campaign. And, he thought he would weigh in, and he did it lightly, and they can take it or leave it as they see fit.
Then given
but I also think
yes?
Yeah, go ahead, Stephanie.
Then given that, you know how hard it is to turn campaign promises into policy. How critical is it for these candidates to be able to explain how they plan to do it? Because you know who never explained anything? President Trump, and he won.
Well, look, I think it's not just about winning, but it's also about governing. So I think it is important that they articulate a clear vision for our country, and then they explain how they're going to bring us together and get it implemented. Because those bold ideas, you don't want them just sitting on a shelf and not actually being implemented. And to do that at a time when our country is feeling so polarized, but yet when you travel around the country, you see that there is still a lot of goodwill out there. And I think, look, I'm looking for that candidate who has a vision. I do not think that the differences among the Democratic candidates are anywhere near as big as the differences between the candidates and President Trump. The Affordable Care Act, yes, you have those who want to tweak the Affordable Care Act and those who may want to have Medicare for all. But right now, today, the Trump administration is in court trying to repeal the entire act so that people with pre-existing conditions would be left out in the cold. 20 million people would lose those benefits. And so I think that it's important to have those conversations. I'm looking forward to having more conversations about issues that are important to working families. Everything from equal pay to paid leave, workplace flexibility, a culture that's free from sexual harassment. I think it's important to continue our conversation about reducing gun violence, building our economy, making sure every American has health care. And so those are the policy issues that I think we should debate, as well as how we want to get them done.
Do you see that candidate? Because you're quoted in New York Magazine saying the Democratic Party has an embarrassment of riches. But the fact that people like Deval Patrick and Mike Bloomberg could be getting in this race, doesn't that show that there are worries that the candidates that you do have don't have what it takes?
I think everyone who's in the field today, I would be proud to get behind. I think that Mayor Bloomberg and Governor Patrick also have great strengths. And I think it's more an indication of, like, do I think I need to get in this race? Do I think I have something unique to offer? And I think I welcome anyone who wants to get into the arena, particularly right now. What I am most concerned about is having the strongest possible candidate emerge. I have made myself available to anyone who's interested. One of the candidates a few weeks ago sent me their platform that focuses on working family issues, gender equity, and I gave my advice freely and would do that for anyone. I want the strongest possible candidate to emerge.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.